guess what? It's bonus time. Trying to throw out another edition of Hodge and Podge. Trying to throw our hands off a little bit here.
How great is this kid?
It's great. Hey, just so you know, this edition is going to be the perfect 10. I think you might recall this from about a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago. Yeah.
So this is going to be one of our recurring bits, hopefully. So we're going to run through 10 topics, give you our thoughts on them, and
really kind of rapid fire, more than you know. I think it's just been a short time.
Yeah, so you don't have to listen to Hodge as much. I think is the goal, right? So
what,
see how it goes.
Parachute for that long?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. All right, rapid fire, Hodge. Number 1, Butler Bulldogs banned from the tournament.
I think
what's your take?
I think it was a good call. I mean, you're letting these livestock into the gyms now. I mean, what do you have? Well, Texas Longhorn their necks like Bevo? Well, they got knocked out of the tournament, but in theory, I mean, I think it's too much. I mean, we don't want this, you know, dog smear on the court. I mean, basically, you know, someone step in and fall down.
Oh, come on.
I'm against it.
There's no reason to think that the dog has to actually get on the court and take a crap at half court that somebody's going to step in.
It's right off court.
It's off.
You're going to save a ball, you jump off.
Look,
you hit
every other team.
You're out of the tournament.
Every other team out there is allowed to have a mascot. Why not them? It's not like, you know, Brutus Buckeye is not actually live. He's live. It's not like it's a paper cutout.
Well, someone like
he could have an accident.
So that was good. Someone like UGA, they have 2, right? They got a real live bulldog, but they have like, I guess, the fake stuff.
Well, maybe Butler can't afford to have a guy in a bulldog costume. It's going to look too much like Georgia.
Take the earnings from the tournament, and invest in that.
I just don't understand, because last year the bulldog was there, and this year they're not allowing it, and I just think that's kind of.
I think it's a good call.
I just think that's bad going from year to year like that. So I guess that's topic number 1. Number 2. Hey, guess what? This week, Bruce Pearl was fired. Staying in the college basketball, he's fired. What do you think? Too soon? Too late? What do you think about Tennessee?
Way too late. He should have been fired. I mean, he was outright lied to the NCAA investigators. Then he calls the parents of the recruit that was at his house and said, well, you brought him over even though I told you not to. I mean, it's ridiculous.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
No, you know, I'm actually going to hedge on this a little bit like Wilbon does when he pushes on the over-under PTI. But I think you either should have fired him right away, or you got to wait till the NCAA actually weighs in and determines what the punishment's going to be. It's kind of like, it's in this gray area where the NCAA never really ruled on him, so it's like they just fired him now after the end of the season. I don't know if it was bad performance, I guess, but it just seemed kind of weird to me. And the worst part of the whole thing to me was the AD going, hey, we don't know if he's going to be here at the end, and then they went out and laid an egg against
Michigan. They totally torpedoed him. I totally agree with that.
So continuing along the lines of these infractions with the NCAA, our third topic, Jim Tressel. He's going to sit out 5 games now because that's what the players got?
That's way too late.
What do you think?
It was way too late. And you may not like to hear this, and it may not be music to Ohio State fans' ears. I don't know if he survives this. I think based on all this comes out, I mean, you know, we kind of in January, what was in late December, early January for the bowl game, was, you know, I'm not going to sit these guys and wait till next year and figure out he knew about it since early spring. He may not survive this. I mean, this is basically, you knew of an infraction, you didn't report it.
First of all, it wasn't his call that they got to play in that game, okay? The All-State Sugar Bowl lobbied for that.
You're the head coach.
He could have made a decision, but it wasn't his call initially.
He's the head coach.
Number 2, I think it's nice publicity-wise that he did this, but it really means nothing to the team. I see, you know, those players are going to be on the practice squad during the week, and then they're not going to play on the Saturday game. But he's still going to be coaching the whole time. He's just not going to be at the game. I think it's kind of ridiculous, actually, to be honest with you. So that's kind of where I go.
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, we should talk about this later on at a regular topic.
You ready for number 4?
I am ready.
Number 4, Michael Jordan comes out and says Derrick Rose should be the MVP of the NBA this year.
No way. LeBron's definitely the MVP. He averages more points a game. He's averaging 26
I cannot take your LeBron love anymore.
You know, honestly,
he's already been MVP 2 years in a row.
He's the MVP.
What does he really bring to that team?
He's averaging 26 points a game. He gets 7 boards a game. He gets 6 assists a game. Shoots at 50% clip. You got D Rose. He's shooting 20. He averages 24 per game. Shoots at 44% clip.
That doesn't sound bad to me.
LeBron is the best player in the NBA.
Come on, before he got to the Bulls were nothing. Now he's there. He's bringing them around. They're actually, I don't know, number 1 in the Eastern Conference, unlike the Heat. The Heat are not even going to make it to the finals. Nobody on that team is going to be MVP, nor should they.
Look at the
Derrick Rose.
Look at
I think right now should be number
one. Look at the
one.
Cavs now. Look at the Cavs after LeBron when they were LeBron.
That doesn't make him an MVP. Just if Derrick Rose went down, they would not even be in the discussion for anything. But they're number one right now.
LeBron's MVP.
No, LeBron. That's ridiculous.
What's next, Tyler?
Number 5. Going with the 5 count here. Alex Ovechkin injured, sitting out 7 to 10 days right before playoffs. What's your take on that?
I think it's not a positive. I think Washington's they've really come on the last month. You know, they were really sort of down.
Well, they won what, 9 out of the last 10 games.
Right. I mean, they've really come on. I think him going out. This is not timely. I think it is a big deal. I think. You know, the big thing is an undisclosed injury. What is that about?
Yeah, they won't talk about it.
What is that?
I totally agree with you. This is going to sound just kind of ridiculous, but I totally agree with you in that this is huge for them. I mean, they were really on a roll. They had trouble earlier in the season with scoring. People were talking about Ovechkin, maybe he's fat. And now they're actually saying, well, he's had this injury for a while, they're going to sit him down. This is huge. If he doesn't come back from this wholly, like, healed up, it's just going to be bad for them going into the playoffs.
Totally agree.
Number 6, we're going out on a limb here, a little bit of a sport that may not be too known to everybody, but cricket. The World Cup's going on right now. Who you got?
I'm going with India. You got the last. They're going to play the last game, particularly in their home ground. I think they're one to beat. You know, I'm not a big cricket fan. I've just been kind of following it. There's a lot of people at my office that follow it, but right now I'm kind of catching it. Honestly, I think India's the one to beat.
Yeah, no, I actually have India going to the championship against South Africa, but South Africa is going to be my team to beat. The way they put a whipping on Bangladesh, it was just amazing. You know, they beat them by like 200 and some runs, and a lot of people may not know what that means, but they just went crazy. They beat the Netherlands by 231 runs. They beat, you know, they were number 1 coming out of Group B, and I really think that they're gonna go all the way. So that's what I'm looking for. Next topic, number 7, we're going with the NFL lockout. You know, there's these emails that have been going out from the NFLPA and Goodell, and what's kind of your take on them battling over the public opinion?
He's trying to put the pressure on the players. That's clear. That's clearly the strategy. The players broke back in the 80s, and he thinks they can break them now. I think, like we talked about last week, I think they're going to go 2 games. They're going to cancel 2 games. After that, they'll settle it. But the owners are going to take the players to the very end. They think they're weak. They think they're not united, and they're going to put the pressure on them. Put the public pressure on them. They're really going to feel it.
You know what I got to say about this is I think it's just completely ridiculous. You've got both sides trying to sway the public. It doesn't matter. It's going to court. Who cares? It's a negotiation. It doesn't matter. The negotiation. Nothing's going to change in the negotiations based on what the public thinks, and that's the end of the game there. It's who's going to want to get their money more is what's going to happen, and so I think this public opinion thing is kind of ridiculous.
I disagree.
Going into more legal proceedings, we're going to talk about Barry Bonds. Number 8, Barry Bonds.
You know, from a baseball perspective, I don't really care about this trial, but I think you shouldn't be allowed to lie to a grand jury, a federal grand jury, and then get away with it. So, you know, I think this will all play out. I guess his trainer went to prison for the 5th time. You know,
yeah, because you're trying to put pressure on him.
What is hell?
Yeah, no,
just go in and tell the truth.
Personally, I think it's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of taxpayer money. The thing is that without that guy's testimony, there's no. I just don't believe that they're actually going to be able to put him away on perjury. And I think it's a waste of time. I agree with you. I think.
How do you let someone lie?
I think perjury is a serious thing, but they're not going to be able to prove that he lied. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing is that they're not going to be able to prove that, and so it's just going to be a waste.
I think
otherwise, I don't care.
Common sense will prevail, but from a baseball perspective, I don't care.
Number 9, talking baseball some more. Who you got for the World Series coming up?
The Red Sox. They're the prohibitive favorite right now. I mean, they've really improved. You know, they got Adrian Gonzalez from the San Diego Padres. They've really improved their team. They got Carl Crawford from the Tampa Bay Rays. They're the ones to beat, and I think they're odds-on favorite. It's really hard to choose against them. So
who you got in the NL?
Who I got in the National League? I think the Phillies will come through. Just that starting line, the starting pitcher. It's gonna be tough to overcome.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with you on the NL and go with the Phillies as well. I think obviously they've been a team that's been there for a while, and it doesn't look like much has changed on their point. So I think they're gonna be pretty good and probably come out of the NL. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and go with the Detroit Tigers. I just feel like Jim Leyland's gonna put it together this year. They got a lot of talent. They've kind of almost made it a couple years, and I think this is gonna be the year that they kind of bring it all together and get that team going.
If they get the pitching healthy,
it's going to be huge for Detroit as a city.
They got Verlander still there. They still got some good pitching. It just seems like they've kind of fallen off, had a lot of injuries. They could be there if they put it all together.
All right, so number 10, the last one. Still talking baseball. We got Bryce Harper playing for the Nats. You know, obviously we're in DC. When's he going to play?
I think he's going to be a late season call up. I think it'd be like September. The Nats aren't going to have a very good year this year. I don't think they have a very good team. You know, they have a lot of turnover. You know, they're talking about who's a center fielder, Nigel Morgan. I mean, he's kind of a head case in a lot of ways. They don't have a lot of starting pitching. Why not just leave him down there for
they got Jason Worth this year, though.
Yeah, they way overpaid for the guy, but that's beside the point. And I like him as a player.
No, I know he's not going to play right away. I think it just depends on how bad they are. If they're really bad, I think they'll bring him in before the All-Star break and try and get some fans kind of excited. Try to ride out the end of the year, and then going into next year, we're getting Strasburg back and just say, you know, these are our dynamos, and this is where we're going with it. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
Could happen. I just think, why not leave him down in Class A or AA and just let him get the seasoning, you know, where there's not a lot of pressure on him. Why bring him up? But I think they'll get him a cup of coffee at the end of the year. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So that brings us to the end of the Perfect 10, you know, little series we like to do here. And
yeah, it's fun. I like this kind of thing.
Yeah, I hope you guys like the bonus coverage this week. And, you know, as always, follow us on Facebook. We got Hodge and Podge page. We got a Twitter account, Hodge and Podge. Write to us, tweet us, comment, whatever, like us. It's all good. We're willing to take some feedback.
We're going to revisit this trestle thing, though, because I got more to say.
Do we really have to go into it?
Yeah, next week, definitely.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Thanks a lot. See you next week.